Hey everyone. Welcome to this PC build stream. Getting all set up here. The CPU just arrived. And the only thing left is RAM, but I can add the RAM a little later. So, let's see. So many people here yet. Looks like it. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get started. People can watch this play if they want to the beginning. All right. For a PC build, whether can you hear me all right? Check 1, 2. I just changed the sound and then knock it down a little more. Is that even better? How's that? Barely music. That balance better? Check 1, 2. Is that all right? Yeah, I turned it a lot down a lot further. All right. I've been excited for this, getting it going. So, what do you need to know for building? You got to decide, I think, 3 things. What kind of graphics card you want, and what kind of graphics card you want to go with. You like NVIDIA or Intel, or HCI, or maybe some other video card. What brand of processor do you like? Do you like AMD? There's different brands, models within each of those. And you hunt down, and they kind of match together. Like this i9, the 11th generation, it supports PCI 4, but the earlier ones don't. And the newer video cards have PCI 4. And then on the motherboard, the PCI 4 slots that correspond to the CPU, PCI 4, including the slot for the SSD. So I think these 3, when you figure them out, then you can build from that out of your system. So it's just a matter of trying to get these 3 pieces in place, right? So with that, then we'll just move forward. For those who haven't really built a lot, the recommendation is just be clean. You don't want film and mildew or not mildew that you're on your hands, but you don't want oils and stuff to get in, and like debris to fall into the motherboard and to the parts as you build them, because then you'll have, like, when you try to make a contact, if there's something in the middle of that, then it blocks the contact, and then it's like, where's the issue? It's hard to tell it. So, like, being clean, having a clean work area, not in a big dusty area, is a good thing. And also, static shock. I wanted to spend a moment on that. So if you know, in the wintertime, when you shake your feet, around, or you're walking around a room and then you touch a doorknob, and then all of a sudden it's like, and you feel the shock. Well, the same thing can happen on this equipment. And when you when you're touching like one piece to another piece of the equipment and the shock is between the two pieces, hard to see that. When it's between the two pieces right there, then that's when bad things happen and stuff doesn't work anymore. So you need to try to have, it's not as bad in the summertime as it is in the wintertime, but can't feel it as much. It still can happen in all year round. So having temperature and like humidity and everything that's like that keeps that from happening. And also a relatively cold room because like the sweat off your hands. If you get droplets of water into the circuitry, then you can start getting short circuited. So I'll put a disclaimer on it. I'm exercising ideal ideal steps to perform this, but it's I take no guarantee if you try to follow the same steps and you move them around or you like it may or may not be the same or like what you do with it. So that said, let's get a building. All right. Okay, and this silver bag is actually an anti-static bag, and the parts come shipped in the static bag. That keeps the static from happening. Okay, so I'm gonna start displaying. Like I'm gonna just try to display the parts as they go in. All right, we can do a few things on the motherboard before we actually put it in the case. So I'm going to install the SSD into the motherboard. It's probably easier to do it this way than waiting for it to get inside in the case. All right, so and I think it was taped, so just carefully undo the taping. So all right, so this is the backbone of PCs in this model. So you can turn it over, and there's a little bit on the back, but there's some heat shielding on here. I'm trying to be careful of talking too because when you talk, there's you get moisture off your mouth. So I need to actually be careful on that. I don't want moisture in on that. All right. So I have a kit, and I also have a Swiss Army knife that's got blades on it if I need to cut. And then I have a bigger screwdriver for the case and the bigger screws that are in there. So I'm going to, and it's got sparkles all over it too, RGB coloring. So the SSDs are actually hidden behind these. These are heat sinks for the SSD. So and this is the PCI 4 version. The others are PCI 3. All right. All right. So I think let's see. Ah, okay. So these internal SSD M.2s are this big. Not very big at all. it actually has a little slot on the end. Hard to see that. Has a little slot. Has a little slot on the end right here. That this might not, the screw that's right here will go into that, or that's where it holds it down. I actually need to take that. Right. Now I have to look at, so there's a slot, there's a small slot on the end. So there's a little slot corner there. This is a 2 terabyte on the left side. I'm gonna look here. All right. So the small slot is on this part right. I'm gonna put that in there. And you don't want to pressure it. Like it has a little bit of pressure on it. You don't want to force anything. So it has like a little rocker in it, but that holds it down. All right. Then let's just look on the underside. A little bit of heatsink padding attached. So you don't want to screw everything down 100% immediately. To get it in place, and then let it sit around, and then you can screw it down. Ah, no problem. All right. Okay. I'm gonna set this apart. Fine now. Done. I'm gonna put the power on last. Or that was my goal. Because now I think start tearing or digging into the case. Because all right, so if you look on the motherboard, see these little holes that have little marks on them. See these little holes that are in the corner? That there, and they're they're in they're in multiple different places. Well, that's where it attaches to the case, the little server tray, or like a motherboard. All right, need some room here because the case is coming up. So here's the case. For to see it, I get it. All right. But the cool thing about it is, on this one side, little clips on it that pulls apart, and I can open up the side. Just opening up both sides. Need it. There's a guide that shows you like picture by picture what to do. Yeah, it's I like it. It's fractal. It's got this little like wavy on the front of it, and it's like a fractal sign. So kind of the side here. So some of the cabling that comes up from the front side. So there's a front panel that's up here, and then this cabling runs off the front panel and it comes in, and it's right here to do all of the connecting motherboard. So all these different plugs. And then also see right here, those are front and back like hideaways. So the power supply is down here, and then all the plugging can inside. So all the plugging, all the wiring can come up through and on the back side, and then go through those holes. Right. I'm gonna lay it down. I have to do a tilt here. All right. So it might be hard to tell, but these little pegs right here are the standoffs. So you've got like this case right here, and then you have the motherboard that sits on top of it, and then this like the standoffs keep it from touching the bottom. So then there's this little gap that sits between the actual bottom and then where the motherboard sits on top of it. And this is an ATX design, so it's shaped out in the way of an ATX like type of case. All right, so then this is one of the fans, and then like one of the plug, like the headers that go to it. That's how they plug in on the motherboard. So let's look at that real quick. So here's some of the plugins, and some of these smaller ones. No, not right here. So they're labeled. It might be hard to see what the labeling is. Like I think. Okay, so those are different system fans. It might be hard to see that. But these are labeled as system fans. So these 4 plugs right here, that's where the plugs from the fan will plug in. And there's some others up here on the top too. But they're labeled, these right here are labeled for the CPU. So when you plug the heatsink in on the CPU, those cords come over and plug in right here. And then some of them are the RGB, which is the coloring. All right. So right here's the back plate that goes through the back of, and actually I need to move. Might need to just I don't think this case the part slides out. There are like little plugs that are like little like maybe rivets or like hex heads. That's possible to pull this out. The case, like take it apart. But I'm not going to do that. I want to install it inside. Oh, I forgot something on the back side. All right. So this little box, this little box was hidden on the inside for the accessories, and this this has all the different screws that go in, like case wise, to attach it. So there's like screws coming from different places all over the place. All right. So there's a couple. All right, a nice claw. So so that's the case. Fractal Master Pi 2. And there's also these like twisties or twist ties or the flip ties, zip ties. That's to wire maintain the wiring because the wires go like they just explode all over the place because you don't take care of them. So I just have to sort out everything. See, that's an extra standoff. If you need to reconfigure the case or it's an extended, I'm pretty sure it's configured for ATX. All right, I'm gonna need more light. So I'm gonna plug up a light. Hopefully it won't blind out screen. Once I get the motherboard in there. All right, so these are smaller screws, more so for like SSDs, drives. I think these are the case screws, or the ones that mount set it in, and these are also like SSD screws. We'll have to look up what some of these are. I'm not the newer cases or the newer cases and the newer equipment have different parts. All right, and here's some rubber stoppers. All right, I want to have to look real quick what this is because the rubber stoppers might have something to, I doubt it, but they might have something to do with the motherboard. Yeah. I Hey, welcome, Plasma. Yep, it's definitely going to screen, and there won't be a slideshow and Flight Simulator anymore in the future, in the near future. All right. Look for motherboard screws. So this case actually allows for you can put GPU stuff in there. So it's all the internet, man. It's all based on the internet. So when I need some help with the questions, if anything comes through, um, I'm not trying to ignore you. I'm also trying to just get through it. So I'm looking back and forth. It's hard to see. So I'm working like this, and then the PC's like over here. It's PC's over here, or the screen. So I'm going to try to make it easier. I can see a little bit better now. All right. So so it's really talking a lot about what to do. So the power supply, the little plugs that's on the backside here, these little this little plate right here will come out, and then the power supply slides into it. I haven't counted it. There are one, two here, one here. Then there's two on the cooler, and then there's one on the power supply that it shoots down. Like the power supply is right here, about the bottom. All right. It actually suggests to put a lot on here, but I'm gonna keep it bracket. It actually recommends removing all of that. I don't know that I have it. Okay. So the description here. Okay. Yep. And I see you, Outlaw. Welcome. All right. So here's the ATX and mini ATX, and it doesn't really say a whole lot. Let's see. There's 8X of those and straight in. So let's list the parts. Those are the straight. I might just take this top off because it actually recommends to. It should be easy to. Winebot behaving again. Been working on Twinebot some, and hopefully it's not been misbehaving again. Because the repeats or something I changed. Yeah. Go. And got filters all over this thing. It's nice. Careful. So for those who showed up late, a little bit late, the CPU just came in. The RAM is still in shipment, which is really easy. It's just a slide in, and I'm gonna check right before the end see if I need to go get it. There's a little delivery locker somewhere, and if it's available, I'll go get it, and then we can put it in. It only takes like 10 minutes to walk over and back. Micro ATX A and M. So there's markers for A and there's markers for A and M. So it's ATX and micro ATX. So it's like the same. It's like the pattern, and then the ATX part is like a little more. So is everything coming through right? Sound check 1 2. Verifying. I see it's time for you to go, Darkstream. So good luck or have fun. Talk to you later. All right. So this being the back panel, we'll slide through the back. Now I want to be sure I touch the case as I put it in. so that it discharges any of the static. Right, I need to verify. Need to verify the standoffs, plugs. All right. Oh, that's cool, Darkstream. All right. So look at the screws. There's 8 of them, or bolts, or not quite screws. They're like bolts. Uh, 1, 2, 4. Getting ready, huh? For like next half hour. Hey Alexa, order some roses. Okay. There's the. And those who missed it, the actual I installed the SSD that was underneath this. This was the even backed up for it. Is an M.2, and this is uh, it's got a built-in heatsink on the motherboard for the M.2s, and this is the PCI 4 slot, and then these are the 3 slot, the PCI version 3 SSD slots. I think those are 8. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I think those are 8. All right, make some more room here. So apparently, I can set this dude's automated AI bots. I can set them off with just talking about them, talking to them. All right. So I figure that these are the ones you can see. I think these are the ones that got a smooth on it, and then a little bit of a thread because the motherboard is so thick. I'm gonna try one. Hey, I said roses. I could have said something else. Now, if these were metal screws, I believe this is a metal. This is a, or this used to be magnetized, so it's going to be a little more difficult. But okay, that's not screwing in properly, so it's not the right one. I'm looking for. Oh, I'm looking for this, and it's not. It's labeled okay, but it's not. And I wonder if it might be a motherboard screw, not necessarily a case. So let's look inside the box here. So these nice stickers came with it, which is pretty cool. These case stickers that will go like all over the place, and then even like little cords Like these are labels for the different cords. And then motherboard spec manual. And then underneath, this nice little surprise, all of this. I'm going to put this off to the side. All of these nice little things. I don't know that they doesn't look like screws are in here. There's like little ones, very specific ones. So I'm going to put that off. Okay. Hopefully I got find the right case. Because there's 8 of them. Nine in that one. Or it might like flathead. Bigger one. Those little rubber things. Ah, here we go. Okay, so there's 9 mounting screws and I need 8 of them. Ah, okay, so those little rubber pieces are HDD or disk drive dampeners. So it doesn't you put it in between the hard drive and the case, and they sit there and they don't vibrate against the case. Pretty cool. Something. All right. So this is the first time I've gotten one of these cases, so it's pretty cool. Oh, and that's a standoff tool. All right. Oh, right. So the standoff tool, it's got the little hex head on it that you use it to screw in on the bottom. All right. So I think there were 9 of these. So this is it. Having little trays are nice so that you can put these little screws in there that they don't fly off the desk. All right. So these little ones are going in these holes all around the case. All right. So I screwed it all the way in, but I backed it off a little bit because I want to get them all in and then screw them all down once they're all set. Because the board may have to move around a little bit. Okay. Right. The screwdriver was a little magnetized, but now it went flying. I'm going to put the others in. The one, the music. All right. There it is. So a good thing about magnets. But you don't want magnets as much as possible. You don't want to touch magnetic stuff to the motherboard. That can create problems. Those are mounting screws. Yep. That 8 of them. I don't want them flat, but it's. Oh, that's them then, because there's 16 of the other ones. That's what I'm seeing. Power supply screw. All right. They look a little different by picture. So a little unusual mounting screws than what I've seen before. What it specifies. Talks about the IO shield. I didn't see the IO shield. Here. It has one. The IO shield usually comes with the motherboard because, like, their shape is. That's sitting all the way down. There we go. Okay, so the shield was built in on the motherboard. All right, now it's plugged in. All right. Again, you don't want to apply too much force. You can apply a little bit, but if it's way out, don't want to like, don't want to fold it hard. Like fold it a lot. It's not very good. Definitely got to fold the plastic. All right. Continue. I see you found the points. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all in here. Motherboard's nice and secure. Also right here, this this part plugged in. We'll screw them down. Don't have to go full muscle on them. Just have to snug them up with a little extra so they don't back off. They don't come off. All right. All right. That's all plugged in. All right. Okay. Let me stand this up so you can see it from the side. All right. So that's the setup. Here. Then right here are the RAM slot, then processor chip, and gas slot, and then across the bottom a lot of the front panel connectors and some of the RGB connectors stuff, and then the power plugs for the two. They're up here in the top, and then there's two of them now. There used to not be any. Then they added one. Now they added two. So they're about to just add another power block at that point. This is the motherboard power strip right here, power part. They come in different number of pins, 24, and then just a pressure. These little screws right here, I pulled those out, and then the actual SSD M.2. Hear me. The M.2 is behind this. So there was a little slot right here, and then slid it in, and then pushed it down into place. And there's a little screw that, or bolt, or something that just held it in there. And then I put this back on. All right. So summary of today. All right. Need a little water. Be right back. All right. Make a little room right here. All right. Okay. So this is the back of the CPU slot. And this area right here, that's where the heatsink is going to go. I can actually go ahead and put that on, that part. So I'm using one of these. Kind of hard to maneuver it all right here. Actually, I'm using one of those. So it actually comes with for AMD and Intel processors, and I was already able to put it partway together. So uh, this is the backside that plugs in, and then on the other side, then these attached to it. And then once these attached to it, just kind of talking off camera. Sorry, apologize. Then the heatsink sits down on it, and then it bolts in on the side here. So I'm working on both sides here. So this hopefully will fit. There's a little bit off. These resize, got a little play in them. Not all heat sinks are like this. This is the Cooler Master version. So it really depends. It could just be a solid block that you have to deal with. These have a little bit extra, like a little extra setup on them. All right. So is it easy to see on the back here? Starting to get shadows here. Hold on, I got a lamp here. All right. So then this plate will sit on here, and then I have to affix it so it doesn't come off like that. So I'm holding that. So right in here. All right, so here's another type of standoff, or another standoff. So then this will screw into that. This will screw into these pieces. When we get one in, hold it. Mm. I'm gonna lay it down in a moment. I just need to. Where I get these. All right. Okay. I'm gonna lay it back down. I'll put this off. All right. I'm gonna get this plugged in moments. All right. I have to blind myself here. Powerful lamp. All right. That, so now I saw it yesterday. I'm gonna verify the. Oh, I believe it goes like this. So these. Pretty loose. Verify that. So there's nice detailed instructions in here, and for both Intel and AMD. So you see some of the detail for that, like the fans actually are popping off for the moment. Let's look here. Okay, so it's specifying the rails go where the longer edge is on the outside. Yeah. Ah, the Twinebot decided to crash. More so from the library I use. So it's restarted. Is something? Right. Oh, can't do that yet. So I got to get the processor loaded in, and the arm is in the way. Like, or I can't get the arm. I could do the other side, but if you could see this is a locking arm. The locking arm you have to lift it up, and it blocks it. So look at this. Seems to not fit very tight, but it still holds it. It's just maybe it's for the flexibility. That's still the way it is. Um, it is like a multi different parts kind of thing, so it kind of makes sense that it doesn't have everything, like, or it doesn't fit cleanly, um, just for one type, because it has different types to it, but it still fits. But, all right, processor time. All right, just got it. Verifying. All right, how do I get into it? Oh, all right. We'll leave this right here. The current part. Neat little box case that I might. I mean, it's pretty cool. Um, Nice plastic case here. I might find a way of decorating around the area with it. So that's the processor. All right. So what makes each processor brand or like group different is the slot it fits in. So, so that's as big as it is. Like that. Take a glance here. And we got a nice little sticker to affix designate Core i9. It's just support info. All right. So a nice one that's going to go on the outside, probably at some point. Got to keep up with it. And So see this? If you can, there's this little arm right here. We gotta open the arm, and then that unlocks. That unlocks the socket. Oh, and I think, okay. All right. Now, it might be hard to see on that. Um, you see, you see these little, like little marks on the sides. So that's like a pokey yoke, where it only fits in certain directions, and it might be a little hard to see looking for it. There's certain there's this little if you can see it, there's this little there's a little notch right there, and that notch is set up in the on the processor, on the chip, on the board, where it only fits one direction. Drop it right on. So don't want to touch the metal part on the top. Okay. You see how flat it is? Uh, see how flat it is? There's no pin sticking out. Okay. So what ends up happening is the motherboard got all these pins under it, and then the flat CPU sits on those pins, and then it locks it down. And then there's a certain orientation for them. All right. So you don't want to touch the metal on the top because you'll leave your oil from your skin, and that's where the heatsink is going to be attached, and you need to have a good clean surface there to affix the some of this. And I use Arctic silver. The heatsink came with some Arctic silver, and so it's this compound with a little spatula, and it's like a sandwich. Squirt a little on there, and then spread it out like a sandwich, and then that creates a bond between the CPU processor and the heatsink, and then this stuff's in the middle of that. But we got to lock the processor down first. We're going to take off cap, lower that in place. Now, nice cap. And it is not going to move. All right, processor installed, but we're not done yet. Heatsink. They come in different shapes. This is one of them. the cooler master. This. Um, then here's the actual surface of the heatsink. That's protected. Don't want to touch it. Don't want to get oil on it. Same reason. You're connecting both sides. Now, now with that in place, I can now put the rest of the heatsink part in. Plug it up. All right. Now I just want to do a fitting. So you can see it actually is a little offline one way. I'm going to do verification. All right. And I don't flip it around. I want to verify if one of these fans plugs on, got these little side rails on them. So they slide on to the heat. Lock and play. They should be locking. Lock. Okay. All right. So I just want to verify that there's ample room. If I put it on. Next. Ah. Okay. Looks like there's enough room. Fan off real quick. All right. Got to stretch a little. Thank you. Welcome, Best Cushy Cushy. Welcome, stream. Yep, I'm really looking forward to it. Firing it up. All right. Thank you. Arctic silver. All right. I want to put a little squirt on here and then spread it out. It's going well. It's going well. Been working about an hour 15, getting everything plugged in. Like Everything was apart. Had to put it all together. Still not done yet, but about to set the CPU cooler. How are you doing today? Happy Saturday. Do not want this stuff on the rest of the board. No, no worries. Um, I had a mod set up to talk, and then had to go. Today wasn't the best time. Well, I was actually planning this from a week from now. Oh, okay. I actually was planning or not planning on this today because the parts weren't supposed to be here until between like the CPU on like Monday, Tuesday, and then the RAM was supposed to arrive 7 days from now. It's still the RAM is still it wasn't marked shipped earlier, but it's supposed to be delivered today. I'm actually working without the RAM right now, but I can put everything else together because the RAM just slides right here, and it's a simple plug-in. But there's so much else to do. For now, make the spatula and spread the mustard or mayonnaise or ketchup. Yep. So there's no reason to rush. If you rush, you make mistakes. Want to be careful, just slow and steady. Now, you can't just molasses through. So if I don't do what I'm doing, processor will melt in like 2 seconds. It probably won't even turn on. But even if it does turn on, if you could get it to turn on, it would melt in like 2 seconds. All right. Okay. This Okay, so I reinstalled it, the fan. Oh, I can't. Actually, I can't. Because I have to the little screws right here, the bolts. I have to bolt it down onto the side rails. Can't do that. I got ahead of myself. All right. Now will that let me plug on? I think I can. So the worst thing to do is put this on and then have to pull it off because that silver will go everywhere. You don't want it on the rest of the motherboard. Okay. Can you see that? Got a little bit of smooth, like a smooth layer of mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup, like whatever you want, of the Arctic silver. All right, time to set this down, and I got my screwdriver ready. We go to the other side, so I can watch it in. Getting a good. Need a blade. Be right back. Let me get a big blade. Anyone have questions? Just curious how it's sitting. Um, that's cool. Cool outlook or outlaw, not outlook, outlaw. Yeah, and the this right here is where the power supply goes in, and it all the hidden spots. I had to restart Twinebot, and that's why it said hello again. You need to just make sure it gets a good seat there, sitting like the way it sits. I'm not going to put lights in it because all the things have lights in it. I may add more lights later on, but not at this time. I think all of this glows. Like all of this has lights in it. The RAM slots have lights. The fans on here have lights. They I have keyboard and mouse that have lights. and it's synced up to software that runs on the motherboard, that runs on the operating system that runs against the motherboard. Um, this is the open side, and then this is the back panel. So yes and no. And a refresher. So I'm gonna have to verify if the RAM has come. The RAM was still in shipping earlier today, and the processor just came just as stream started, or I started it and went and got it from like some lockers, delivery lockers. All right, so pretty much the hard part is done. CPU inserted, the the thermal grease, the way it's called, and then the heatsink sitting on top of it. Now it's just plug and play things. All right, so these light up fans. So it actually has, so there's two fans on one on each side. So these clip on, but they have these little, they have, there's an RGB portion, and then there's the actual power portion, power cord. So I need to make sure, let's see, I need to go to the top. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put this one on the inside here. Then make sure I have this one plugged in. All right, cooler installed. When I set it up right, it's not going to fall off. And there you go. Go ahead and tilt that up real quick. They not let me. Oh, there it is. All right. All right. So it's good to stretch. Don't want to get yourself out of whack. Next, I think I'll put the power supply in next, just to have it inside. But I need to lay it back down to plug in uh, headers for the fans. All right, time to get all this negotiated. All right, so there are two on each fan. There's an RGB plug and power plug, and the RGB plug together and then plug into a spot on here. The power plugs, there is a cable that will merge them together, but the motherboard has two headers on it for the CPU. So I'm going to use that instead of trying to merge them together. All right. So this is just going to know where you're looking. And in this case, okay, so this is, all right, this is the RGB. Gotta decide how I want to route this. All right. Power. So this is a power header, and I have to fit that in. This is where having small hands is very helpful. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. Um, but if you look at, if you could see, you could try to set it up here. If you see, there's a little bevel. I can hold it like that. There's little bevels on the edges, and then the slots actually have like a little plastic piece, so it slides right into it. So you can't flip it around; it won't fit because of the actual plug. So it's a little hard to see. I got it. Um, and then the white balance gets weird with the light. I need to decide where I want to put that fan, but I need to put the CPU fans on the two headers up here. I don't know if you could see. Oh, that might be easier. So you see this little like hole, or not hole, but see this little ridge that's inside of on the side there. So that's this little slot I'm talking about, and these two little pieces right here. Well, it's not so much a clip. It's actual like um, it's It's like you have the piece of the like the actual place right here with all the like the pins sticking out the end, and there's two little protrusions sticking out on the one side of it. Then that's the only way. Like it plugs into the clip with like it matches up, it pairs up. So it's like a little mating, you know. But that's the way computer stuff is called. You've got a male side and a female side. So this, you can see the plug here, the power plug. So this is the female side because it's like a hole. And then the male side are the pins that fit in the hole. So you got a male side and a female side, and that's the way it's called. It's a male side, it's male female side. And so the now the motherboard has got the male pieces for the fans, and then the female side, the header. So then there's a slot on one side. So it's like forward or backwards. It's getting kinky. I don't mean it that way, but it kind of is. I mean, that's the way it is. All right. How about that? Okay. This plug in. I know why I took this off so you can see in here on the top. And then sometimes with the plug, when it when like when you're plugging in, there's like a little hook on it. So like you're um, so like you're plugging into the board. When you plug into the board, then there's a hook on the side, and it'll actually hook in there, so it kind of holds it in place. So it's like you have to put it the right direction, and it holds it in place. That's pretty cool. All right. Um, okay. So the two fans in the front, I want to put the system fans on the bottom, and the one fan up here. There's a couple headers on the top, and I want to put this fan plug here, but I need to run it through the back of the case. And okay, RGB. I'm going to run that around up here, and it can go in behind the case in the back side, underneath. All right, I'm going to run this around too. I need to run this one around. So arranging these things, I'm going to wrap. I'm wrapping the cooler, uh, the cords around the cooler itself. But I want to set it up. I can sit down just a little bit. Um, all right. Ah, back up a little bit. All right. So this one's power. I want to wrap that around the bottom and plug in. Or So I want to take through and paint. Oh, more room. Okay, that back through. So if you can kind of see here, so I came out from here, back on the back side, and then back through. Get it plugged, and then cooking with gas, propane. Taste the meat, not the heat. Try to, I don't need that. Oh, hot lamp. Woo. Yeah, that works fine. I gotta leave enough room for the power cords up here. I do. All right, that works. Wonderful. All right. Then the RGB. Down in here. I hope the heatsink is sitting on that. Hard to tell. Hard to gauge that. I mean, I've put it down in there, and it should be connected. When I barely put it on, it was sticking. It started sticking, like the thermal grease started sticking to it. So that I can wrap this around. Right. I'm going to have to make it the same way. Well, I don't have to, but I want to take up some of the room. Or like hide the wiring. So maybe the plug and play is a little bit harder now with just like routing wiring. Put it down, so it should be well, the video card has two digital ports or display ports, DP ports, and then two HDMI ports. But to use a gaming monitor and overclock it like 144 hertz, the refresh rate, you've got to use both display ports. So it's the two display ports, and then on one monitor, and then say one HDMI on one, and then an HDMI on another. So probably the three. Or if I yank out, maybe the four. I'm not sure. Like it's a 3060 card. I would think it could run more, but you get a point of where maybe four is too much, or three is too much. But I'm being gaming. I'm basically going to be running one big one, HDMI or not HDMI, HD, UHD, that gaming monitor on the side there. And then if I need to, I can plug up an HDMI for. Yeah, this new card, they've got the two HDMI or the two display ports, and the two display ports support the higher frequencies, the higher refresh rates, and the higher resolutions, like the 4K stuff. So it's the two that gets you up there, but it doesn't have any audio on it. You can see the process. I mean, the tough part is there's no real way to verify unless you plug it up and it immediately cuts off. Or before I set it down, I could have maybe lifted it back off and just see if it touched it. But when I barely put it on, it was already touching it. So that's why I'm banking on that the rest of it is there. So that's where these heat sinks that you got to kind of put together makes it a little harder to like figure out that, because like I'm just putting pieces in there and it's like pushing together, but how do you really know that it's touching? I mean, other than it's like snug and it's not moving around, and you'd have to like plug it up to get the temperature. So, um, let me check. Yeah. Yeah, you do know if it gets hot, but it may shut down. If it's not on there properly, it'll melt the chip. Okay, so it looks like RAM is going to be a little bit longer. So I'm just working without the RAM. That's the last part to come in. It was actually due a week from now, but it's scheduled in today by 10 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, welcome Stiggy man. All right, get stand it back up. Get the rest of the headers plugged in. For some reason we got a double message. Oops. Tweaking some of this stuff with the bot, so oops. that on the notes. Any questions up to this point? Anyone? All right, enjoy dinner. Pull it out. All right. So got this fan and these two fans plugged up, and I still have to plug up the RGB. The fans. No, there's 32 gigabyte chips, and there's 4 chips. So 32, 32, 64, 2 more, 64, 128 gigs of RAM. Hey, I never have too much RAM, but it should last for a while. It can run multiple things. That in? Oh, gigabyte. All right. So have this and powered plugged right here. Yeah. Have this one plugged on the right side here, and then these two plugged here, and those are labeled as heat fans. There's a heatsink fan headers, and then the RGB for these fans right here, and yeah. So now I'm going to install the power supply, and that is hidden down in the bottom here to the back. Quick drink of water. Okay. So I previously discussed, but I'll refresh. Here are a bunch of cables for all the plugs that go on the front side, on the top. So these plug into the motherboard. Like they'll go through and then they'll plug in, and then like this is how that stuff works on the front side. Plugs. These plugs go in, and then so I think this even there's a special plug in the motherboard on the yeah it came with the motherboard that will. So the plug actually it lets you plug in the pieces. It lets you plug in the little so these come in little I can see them that, but then you can plug them into this piece that this piece will slide in. The only the reason it's all set apart like this, sometimes the motherboards the order is different, so you have to rearrange them. See that? If you can see that. Pull it around so I have more. That's good. There's a plus and minus. You have to plug those. Well, some of them. Pretty neat. These, where you can plug these in. Okay. But they're all nice and lined up here. They're now lined up in this little plug here. And I just plug the plug in and I'm set. I don't have to plug the individual. And then there are any other, those are some fan cords. Again, headers. So I have to take it in here. All right. Don't really need this. We can, okay to leave in. So here's a power supply. Quite heavy. It's got a lot, then all these cords. And then modular power supply has plug what you need. but then there's some base ones that are already. So this big one is the motherboard, and then the other ones, are this one right here and here. These two are those two plugs. So, and then there's this that goes together. Okay, so it's just the three. The three with this little right here, and that's the fan. Over there. All right. So then I want the fan to go down, so there's nothing. Well, listen, I want it to go down. Let me look at the. It might go up. Right. I think the way this case is described, it allows for water cooled if you want it. Well, if I want the hard drive cage out, the only reason I would need to is for the room. When I put this in right here, all the cables, yeah, and I probably do for the module, like the oh, I'll just put it second with it. All right. So then this drive cage that I don't really mostly going to be M.2 SSDs, but the actual SSD like little miniature hard drive, those will actually there's a space on the back here. That's what all of this is to screw in the SSD. Pretty cool. Plug them in and then run the cable. Neat, neat, neat. Fan down, and the fan up blows into the case, but hot air rises. So fan up. So let's see if there's a power supply. Curious. What does it say? All right. Yeah, got the little plugs on it. I'm deciding whether the fan goes upward or downward. But the downward doesn't have a lot of ground room for the fan. So that's why I'm thinking upward, and the heat rises, so it'll go up into the case. And the curious thing about this is there's actually no on-off switch plug on it. Straight plug in, and that's it. All right. So get all of this through. And it starts to get messy because of all the cabling. Okay. It looks like it's going to fit. And up. Up. And down. Well, I had it in yesterday. Or the other day. Came in. It's the fan guard itself. And some of these rubber stoppers that get gappage. A little bit of gap here. Let's see if I can. It's just going to be a snug fit. That's all. All right. Now just get it lined up back here. Get it all lined up, and then I put this page back on. Yeah, I mean, this is the first kind of case I got, this fractal case that I got. First time I've gotten one of them. And but I like this hidden power supply block, like all the cording, the cords. So you have good cord control with case. Now that's the back little frame that goes around it. Now, like these places right here, I gotta put the screws in. So, everyone having fun? Sitting on 2.5 hours. As soon as I got back from picking up the CPU, it was basically right on, right into it. A little bit of pregame tech talk. Did you see the new channel points? Oh, thinking of Outlaw. You both have the same coloring name, or it's one's like a teal and the other is green. I thought of the name. Oops. That's a new Outlaws dinner. Having dinner with the sound on. All right. Did you get an excused absence, Start Stream? They're hanging around a lot longer. Or did you get a what is that? Hall pass? Get a hall pass? All right. So now we have the plugs that got to run to the phone. All right. Get that view in here. So ran it through right here, and then that strip of all those plugs, and then it had a lip on this side, so there's the plug itself has a little lip on it, and that locks in right there. There's also well, there wasn't really a shape, but there was one pin missing, and that's kind of an orientation. So sometimes you can look at the number of pins. So it'd be like pins, and then there's one hole. There's one that's missing, then the rest. Uh, and so sometimes they keep it so that you can arrange it like this way, or when you flip it over. it only fits like it only fits one direction. All right. Now the U plugs. It's the same thing. Got got this little clip on it. See it right there. So that clip right there fits. So on the actual device, the actual pin, it's got a little lip on the side. So then that plug fits in there, and then this piece goes over that little lip on the side of it. Seated, it up halfway. This last plug, and then I won't have to mess with I won't have to mess with or mess around inside of up here. I won't have to deal with anything else up here once I get the last plug. Okay. I'm gonna have to the way I have to move here, a little awkward angle here. If someone with small hands would come in and help me, it would work well. Almost have it. Got it. Get it get it lined up, and then Goes right in. But the way I had to bring it in and then twist it around and put it in. A little bit tough. All right. All right. The breather and look at the on here and check if the RAM is on its way or status. Oh, it might get here. It's due by 10 o'clock, so it still might be a little while. Right. Okay. Next. All right. Now there's a little cable here. All right. So if you can see this, these are the front pin connectors. I need to plug that in. So, uh, ooh, ooh. So the tight power supply dislodged this rubber mat. Okay. Figure out. I think it's just the extra. It's the size of the power. Hopefully they can work on that next design level they do, because uh, and I don't know what they intended this case to be. If it's a modder's case, but I mean it has air supply and it has room for reservoirs. So or an overclocker's case. I do plan to overclock a little bit, not a whole lot, but boost up a little bit, get some performance on here. The extra 1,000 watt power supply helps with that. So with the tight power supply, then it dislodges this little it dislodges this little gasket or separator. Okay. There's different panels that come out of here. Makes it easy to get stuff around. Um, so I'm just gonna leave it off the bottom then. Leave it down. Okay, the gap is on the top. Plug in right like that. Okay, so that connects all the switches. So when you push, you can see it. So that little switch right there, that plug I just put in, when you push the button plug on the top, system on. That's where that plugs in. All right. Oh, right. System fans. Noise. Okay. Okay. Then I gotta look for plugs. Plug. So I'm gonna take these off just for now because, well, leave that one. But take these others off because I may have to way out orient it. Move the stuff around. Definitely these fans. Yeah, go ahead and put the fans. Again, the fans. Oh, that's it. Okay, that's the other fan. So it looks like we have them. But it's closest because okay. And next one. here. Right now, this is a USB plug. So that is right. 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 So down here, pattern plugging. All right. 1, 2. So plug in one first. There's only one. But you have a choice of 1 and 2. Typically, you plug in number 1 first. However, up in here, the RAM says B2 and A2. Use like the second channel first, or like the second slot of a channel. Why they named it the second and say that's the first. But I'm using all 4 sticks, so all 4 spaces. All right, HD audio. Gotta find that plug. The audio, there it is. This is one of those that has, might be hard to see. It has one of the pins that's got a hole, like it's a solid. And then the pin that's inside on the motherboard, there's a bunch of pins, and then there's one hole for that solid piece to go in. Ooh, yeah. You had a casualty. Those are usually pretty snug, so I'm not too worried about that. So it's neat. So there was this little cradle that the front ends plug into, and then it had a little latch on the back that holds that little plug in. So there's a cradle that the front side pins fit in, or that like these little like blocks, they fit in there, and then there were little like clips that held that in place. Well, one of those clips broke off, but it's snug in there, and it shouldn't have a problem. I just pushed it in just to make sure. All right. Get all these parts like everywhere as you go. All right. Next, second. Oh, I think it's USB. It might be C. Type C, maybe. Wait for that to load now. Three point two. Now, now I can install the video card. Hey, yeah, welcome, Owen. All right. So, So this is the PCI 4 slot. These are the 3 slot, the version 3, but this is the 4, and that's where the video card I'm going to put it in. So I need to, here's the video card, and I need to take out some of the slots to fit the extension slot. So it goes in like this, and then I have to make room for that. So I have to take out this one and this. Yeah, 3 hours. I taking my time. I'm talking through some things, so maybe I'd run a little bit faster if I wasn't, I'm just explaining things. So all right. Now these little thumb screws, I'm going to use those to lock in the video card. All right. The video card. All right. Now, so it's got a connector on the socket, or with the plug-in, and then there's a power plug-in. So once I'm done, or once I've plugged it in, I'm plug in a power socket. All right. Take that off, and then you see the little notch on one side, so it only fits one direction. There's like all kinds of stuff in here that most of it is like that. How's it going, everyone who just showed up? Freddie, Owen, Fitzy? Getting kind of late, but I'm building up here. Welcome in. One of the few just chatting streams do. Any questions to this point? And now, plug on the outside. And everything, all the monitor and all the stuff plugged in there. All right. We're almost done, actually. I have to just plug up the power supply. Here. So, Well, the problem is the RAM is still shipping. It's due in another hour and a half, but it doesn't have any out for delivery notice. So no RAM, no power button. You're rolling in Nova. There you go. I should have something later, or like when I come up with things, I should something to that like effect or something. So here's a nice little bag that the power stuff comes in, and then all of these that plug in. So, but these are the critical ones. I'm pretty sure that those are like they're set up for a video card. All right, so there's three of them. That one's one. And it's always good to okay. So, right, the little clip is on the top. So that it well, the two on the side. Then this runs through. Where did it? Plug. We plug the single side on this side, and then plug this in the bottom so that it matters. That way, there's only one plug because there is. I only see one plug on the video card, power plug. So it can't get enough power through the slot. It actually has an extra power plug from and it won't because the so the setup of the pins, they're shaped differently so that this will only fit in the power supply and this will only fit up here. So I have to do, but I might put this so they're spliced together so you can have two two at a time plugged in like side by side. Plug it in. You can plug it in like that, but I don't want to. The original one, hold it. Then run this along the edge of the card. Enough room here, room for the RAM. Any questions at this point? Besides the fact, it looks like we're almost done. Almost. And on the back of the power supply, the red labels, the red spots are labeled PCIe, PCI Express connector. So, all right. Now, cable management. I'm going to just work on this a little bit. But any questions in the meantime? I can figure something. Yeah, we're sitting about 3 hours, 3.5 hours on it. Question? Hey, it's got to be. He's got to have some. I would think. Did everyone enjoy their time watching? So, seen builds before? This your first time? Be glad you stopped over. Glad you came over for watching. So if I get some time, I'll probably flip this and shrink it down, maybe like having maybe the entirety, and then flip it down or reference to it on YouTube or something, like skip ahead part. 3 hours would be a long video. But there's a way of referencing installing the CPU, installing the cooler, and the graphics card, all that. Um, All right. All right. Paste somewhat back together. This goes up in the top. This is oh. There we go. I had to remember how to plug this in. I could have gone back in the video, but all right. So there's filters all over the place. Couldn't see that very well. There's a filter in the top, and the top cap clips on. Then the back. Got this nice little panel. So these legs right here, little feet. So they fit in through right here. Taps in. Then this side. All right. Overview. So power supply is down in here, and all the cording comes up through. The one cord, the power into here. Then there's a little. So there's the HD audio that runs over on this side. Then there's one fan that plugs right here, and then another fan that plugs in. Another fan that plugs in. And then the front side, and this, the little front panel where you push the power button, plugs in this spot right here, corner, and then USB Type C. Got a plug here, and then USB front panel. On one of them, there's only one on the front, like one set, and it goes to two ports. And then the motherboard power supply, the RGB for the fans, the heatsink fan, and then the two heatsinks, or the fans on there. Then the other fan that goes to the back. Then there's two power supply plugs that are up. There's two power supply plugs that goes to the two up here, right here, and here. And then system fan, yeah, that fan, and then the two, yeah. So I'm just waiting for the RAM to go in. So can you see? Can you see this little line right here? Little line, middle. So when you look at the RAM, well, when you look at the RAM, so when you look at RAM, you have the whole length, but then part of it got a little notch in it. Simulate the notch. So you see the notch. Well, then that notch is the orientation that you plug it in, because then where that notch is where that little slit is in the slot, like that little spot is in the slot. So there's so many pins on one side and so many pins on the other side, and they're usually different. So there's a little on one and more on the other. So when you plug them in, you can only fit it that way. And then they change by the DDR level. So this is DDR4. So they're different than DDR3, 2, 1, and that's what I'm waiting for. All right. Hope you enjoyed your time. I'll be able to get this back off later, but I'll go ahead and side on. And minus the RAM, there you go. And the power supply plug. Plug right in. And then plug. Yeah, it's supposed to be here. The RAM is set on the website. It said delivered by 10 p.m. I can check. Let me check one more time before heading off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's got 1 hour left, but it's not even changed out to delivery. So arrived today, but it may not be updated properly. So, well, 3.5 hours. I know yeah, I mean, it's a build. Just moving around. Not something I do every day. So, I mean, actually, the RAM was due 7 days from now, and they said it's coming today, and it's it's at a place that's too much. It's 2 hour or like an hour and a half drive away. So it could be on the truck. I mean, it said today at 10. Mm, but yeah, a new toy you can't play with. But no, hey, maybe I'm too tired and I don't need to be messing around with it tonight. Or it comes in and then I plug it in and then I have to do like OS install and everything, Flight Simulator installed. But I can at least copy that data from the other system. I don't have to download the entire thing and then just wait for Sim Update 5 on Tuesday. So, yep. So I like this case, the setup. Like I like the front end here, and L is a little wavy here. So, all right, let's get a raid going. Raid. So thanks for stopping over. Yeah, there's purposes for everything, right? So I was able to put the CPU in, and that was the critical one because you got to put that thermal grease on it, and then put the heatsink on it. So that had importance. Yeah. Who knows? Alrighty. Okie dokie. All right. Thanks for coming over. Um, I don't know if I will stream tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know if I will stream. I'll probably be playing. If the RAM comes in tonight, I will post a Discord. If you like what you see, please feel free to hit the follow button and connect up on Discord if you have that. Welcome to. And wow, I enjoyed it too. It's been about 7 years since I did a full build like this. 6 or 7 years. I had like partial build, and then I wanted to rebuild, so I got another system, and then kind of put the two parts together, split it up in a new one, and so like I took mixed and matched old and new. Yeah, thank you, Onesie. Thanks for coming by. So, but it's been about 6, 7 years since I put something like this together, like bare bone scratch, like uh, took a step up. So I've just been adding parts, and then but I've been at a lower level, right, like PC level, and then just now I'm jumped up to top of the heap. So thank you. Have a good weekend, and talk with you soon. And this will be my streaming computer for Flight Sim. Take care. See ya.